been good to have this at halftime. Would have been a good press conference. So, unfortunately, we didn't play well in the second half, especially offensively, and didn't play well at all in the first half defensively. So that's not a good thing. We did win, so we're 4-0, which is, the best that you can be from a record standpoint at this point. But, kind of more similar to the first game of the year, where we played really well early and then didn't. And I thought we had overcome that, by the way the last two games had gone, of having really big leads like this one at halftime and coming out. And obviously we didn't do that today and tried everything, but got to figure out something better. I'm sure they started like a lot of people, probably like a lot of our fans, like, all right, this one's over. Let's, get ready for the next one. With, a great team coming in here. So unfortunately that happened. The good thing is you take parts where you say, okay, well, we're really good on offense, we're really good on defense. We just weren't consistent at it. So that's better than we've all been around teams or games where, you don't feel good about a side or both sides at all. So now we just got to put it together, which again we did a week ago. But every game is independent of the other, and every week is brand new. So got work to do and get some guys back healthy too that missed today.
You talk about putting it all together. Is there a simple way to do that, or is that just something you have to kind of filter through in practice?
Well, I'm not going to overreact because we just did it 2 weeks in a row, and so, maybe it's a good thing. I try to look at things, and, if we were sitting in here and we would have played another half like that, and we would have been 200 to whatever, 20-something combined score this season, and it'd be hard to keep kids' attention, and they'd hear everywhere how great they are. So, they definitely should be listening after that. That was you would not think we won the game in that locker room at all. And so at least I think they're starting to understand. We want to be great, and you got to knock people out when you have a chance. We had plenty of chances, including the end of the first half. We let them go down and score a field goal. The third quarter should have come out and put it away.
Lane, how would you evaluate Jackson today, and is this still a week-by-week kind of thing?
I thought, which you'd be surprised if we're not scoring any points in the second half, that I would say this, and being so heavy run, statistically, I thought Jackson played well. Was even more physical in the run game than I'd like, and tried to stop him a couple times. No, we ideally didn't want to run him so much, but sometimes that's just what they do on the reads, and even when it's not a quarterback read, if they bring an extra guy, he's got to pull it. So I thought he was good, smart with the ball. He's kind of in every game had one of those that you want to take back, and he overthrew a guy, but I'm talking about a really poor decision. So that was good, and it really was a different game once we started moving. They got out of what they do and ended up playing man-to-man, which is unusual for them, and said, hey, if these guys do that, that's got to come up to you outside receivers. You got to go take the game over, and at times, Malik and Mingo were doing that, and then we missed them a couple of times too.
I know Tulsa was presenting a challenge that y'all hadn't had much in terms of passing offense, but just kind of overall, what did you see out of your defense that they even at times struggled with the run and just kind of everything today?
Well, I think too, when you build plans to play against the number one passing offense, you're gonna have to get lighter boxes and let people run some, and and then that back that they were running with was really big, and that's hard when you're in light boxes to handle big backs that fall forward. And really, no disrespect, because I think the first quarterback's really elite passing game and everything, but I'd rather him in than when you can't tackle the guy and he's running around. So the other guy ran around and we kept missing him. So, not a good combination. We weren't covering them real well early with the run, and then we were beating them with the pressures, and they were just missing this guy.
You went pretty heavy with Quinshon in the second half. Was there a reason that Zach didn't get more carries in the second half?
Yeah, that was a medical thing.
Lane, how would you evaluate for 60 minutes just the way the offensive line played across the board?
for kind of what I've been saying in general. First half seemed very different. Now we presented some problem things to them, similar to Arkansas a year ago, and what we did offensively, things we hadn't shown that I think did well early. And then when we had to just run, it kind of got mushed up, and they did a better job on defense. So, and then Buckshot was hurt, tried to play hurt, but you could see the snap issues going on there, and so we had to take him out. So guys got to step up and play well.
Coach, obviously you made it a issue this week about getting the fans out there. Talk about how well you were excited about the fans out there today.
Were you at the game?
Yes.
Okay. I must have been at a different one. So, is what it is. I didn't think, looking around, it was very full, and obviously at half, but, the students left too. So, when you don't score in the second half of the game, I'm not really up here to, try to motivate the fans. But I got to do a better job motivating our players, and we do that and keep this longest win string since 1947 or something, Kyle told me at home. Keep that going, then maybe they'll be here next week.
Coach, Judkins had a really dynamite game today, leading in rushing yards. What would you say about his performance against Tulsa?
I think he looked really good, made some good runs. Fortunately, the big fourth down wasn't able to hold on to the catch that would have been pretty significant, game-changing play, versus cover zero and a pick route for him. But he continues to play well, especially for a freshman. And then I didn't think, there at the end there wasn't a lot of room to run, is why the quarterback had to pull and stuff, because they were just so loaded and tight there.
Lane, what was kind of the biggest culprit to the offense not being successful kind of in that second half, you think, based on the eye test there?
Yeah, I like to think I usually have pretty good answers at that. It just felt like, one, we didn't want to take a ton of risk because the game was going our direction, and so we got a little conservative, which again, the point is to win the game, even though it doesn't make myself happy and others happy when it ends like that. But and then we just missed a few things too. We missed a couple times with Malik, just underthrowing him, and overthrew Mingo on another fade. So when they're all up in there and they're playing man, and that's really where we felt our matchups were in our favor with our outside receivers. One time we score on it, another time we hit a fade, and then we missed whatever 3 or 4 of them. Would be a big difference.
Coach, are you able to give us an update on J.J. Pegues or Kari Coleman?
Yeah, I think they'll both play next week. I think J.J., could have played if we had to this week. It wasn't a disrespect to the opponent. It was just long-term, not, something. It was something he could hurt worse. So, we didn't play him.
Coach, this was your biggest test of the season so far. What are you expecting going into conference play next week? You get Kentucky at home. What does today's performance say about how your guys are going to improve for next week?
I think it's – I don't like it, obviously, in the moment, but you guys hear me talk about obstacles away. Like, you realize, okay, it was good. So once we watch it, once we're able to have a lot of good things to show them where we didn't do the right things, I think it'll get their attention, and we'll come out and play better, with that, hopefully. So can't pick and choose when you're going to play good, what plays, by what the score is, what stadium you're in, and unfortunately we did that in the second half today.
In the first 3 games, there was kind of a plan to get Luke Allmeyer some snaps in some capacity. Was that the plan today, and the game went differently? What was kind of the plan going in?
Yeah, we have a plan right now with Luke that, just kind of, we've sat down with him and his family and have a plan for him, and, he's our backup quarterback, so we're on the same page.
Lane, just those last 3 or 4 stops for the defense in the fourth quarter, what did you see kind of click for them in those drives that maybe wasn't working earlier in the game?
We weren't missing the quarterback so much. I mean, there's significant fourth down play. We come free on the pick. The quarterback's right there to sack and ends up throwing a touchdown, I think, on the play. So just more consistent with the rush guys and the blitzers getting there and tackling them.
Lane, you mentioned that, you know, in the locker room after the game, it didn't seem like with the guys that it seemed like you had won that game. What's kind of your level of concern after, you know, the way that y'all ended it in the second half?
Well, like I said, you know, I'll get better over the next 24 hours about it, and you know, I already, you know, this team's done that. Tulsa's done that to a lot of people. You know, you look like there's a lot of times they go into places. Cincinnati, who's number whatever 3 or 4 in the country, you know, a year ago and 1 yard away from winning that game. The Ohio State game's close. You know, these guys have gone on the road, played really good teams, and hung around with them. So this is more normal what they do. You know, it just looked like it wasn't going that way early.
Lane, 2 weeks in a row, gotten a targeting call that didn't look like there was any intent. Do you like the way the rule is being enforced, or I mean, is it just that cut and dried? If you hit the head, it's a target.
Yeah, I mean, it's for medical reasons. It's a good rule, and you know, we've been able. I remember I was in the NFL, I think, when it started, and everybody said there's no way we can coach him out of it, and it has. You know, and the type of hits have decreased dramatically because of the rule being changed. So it's not fun when it happens to you, but you know, it's a good rule.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Players in next.
Now the defenseless player block, all right, that's a whole different rule, because the defensive player block, I'm the receiver, I'm going in to block you, and you're right there, and the ball's coming right at me, and now I'm not supposed to block you. Because today we got one that calls back the fourth down that he's just blocking him like you teach guys in Pee Wee football. So that rule, that one I don't understand. You're not defenseless when you can turn your head and look.